This screencasting is for Tuesday 4/26/16, and I'm merging together two assignments. First, the warm-up, which is in the Systems of Equations book on page 33, number 6, and on page 34, number 26. So the first two problems are from your Systems of Equations book. Then, during class today, we're going to do 10 practice problems. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to learn how to use substitution and combination. We're also trying to make sure that when we look at a system of equations, we can tell right away, just by looking at it, whether to use substitution or combination. Let's get started with page 33, number 6. If your book isn't open yet to page 33, number 6, and you don't have a clean piece of paper out ready to work, then pause the video, get a clean piece of paper out, and get your book open to page 33, number 6. Okay, you should have copied the problem down. Y equals negative x plus 16, and y equals negative x minus 8. Now remember, part of the goal today is for you to figure out when you should use substitution and when you should use combination. On this problem, both of these problems are in y equal mx plus b form, where the slope is negative 1 and the y-intercept is 16, and the slope is negative 1 and the y-intercept is negative 8. Therefore, I have to use substitution with this problem, and I'm going to set the two equations equal as my first step. So on your paper, I want you to write negative x plus 16 equals negative x minus 8. Now, what do I do first? Think about that. Are you thinking get the x's on one side? That's the first thing I need to do after I set these two equal. I can't have an x here and an x here. So I need to either add x, because there's a negative x here and a negative x here, I'm going to add a positive x to both sides to solve this problem. So plus x, you should be doing this, plus x. Draw a line. What is negative x plus x? I hope you said 0 so we can cross that out. What's left on this left-hand side of the equal sign? Did you say 16? Write it down. What's negative x plus x? Again, you should have said 0 so we can cross that out. What's left on this side? Did you bring down the negative 8? That's what you should have done. Now, whenever I get a problem that has an untrue statement at the very end, this is untrue because 16 is not equal to negative 8. I know that that means that this problem has no solutions. Make sure you wrote that down. So because this is not true, this has no solutions. I just want to go back up here and show you how you could have told that at the very beginning. The slope here is negative 1 and the slope here is negative 1. The y-intercept here is 16 and the y-intercept on this one is negative 8. Whenever you have two equations with the same slope but different y-intercepts, those lines are going to be parallel and there are no solutions. Those two lines would have looked something like this. Now we're going to page 34, number 26. Copy down the problem. What form are both of these equations in? If you said standard, you're right. ax plus by equals c. ax minus by equals c. They're both in standard form. When both equations are in standard form, you use elimination. Now we're looking for a hallelujah problem. Hallelujah problem means that as soon as you add, if I add these together, I'm going to get some zeroing. Well, here 5x plus 5x, what does that equal to? If you said 10x, you're correct. 15y plus negative 10y. What's 15 plus negative 10? If you said 5, you are correct, 5y. So neither this nor this zero out, which means I'm going to have to multiply everything in either this equation or this equation by something in order to make the zeroing out that I'm looking for. I want you to think about that for a minute. What could you multiply one of these two equations by to cause either the x's to zero out when I add them or the y's to zero out when I add them? Okay, I think the easiest thing to multiply by would be negative 1. I could multiply everything in this equation by negative 1, and that would give me a negative 5x, so those will zero. Or if you want, you can multiply everything here by negative 1. I'm going to use the second equation, and I'm going to change colors for that so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to multiply the 5x by negative 1, write this down, the negative 10 by negative 1, and the negative 40 by negative 1. And then I'm going to rewrite what I get down below. Now the first thing I'm doing is I'm just recopying this first equation. 5x, I'm not doing anything to it, plus 15y, you should be writing this down, equal 10. All I did is recopied it. On the second equation, I'm going to multiply. What's 5x times negative 1? Negative 5x. What's negative 10y times negative 1? Positive 10y. And last, what's negative 40 times negative 1? Positive 40. Now I'm going to add them. That's why it's called the combination technique. Okay, what's 5x plus negative 5x? If you said 0, you're on the right track. What's 15y plus 10y? If you said 25y, you're correct. What's 10 plus 40? If you said 50, you're correct. Now what do I do? Well, I'm trying to get the y by itself, and this is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. So I'm going to divide by 25 here and divide by 25 here. Y, this cancels, equals 50 divided by 25 is 2. Now I'm not done. I have to put 2 back into one of the equations and solve for my x value. I'm shrinking the screen so I have more room to work with. So I'm going to go 5x. I'm actually going to use black. 5x. I'm copying this equation. Plus 15, not times y. What am I going to put in the y spot? I hope you said 2 because that's what the y is. It's 2 plus 15 times 2 equal 10. Now I'm going to do the math that I have here. 5x plus 15 times 2 is 30 equal 10, sorry. Now I'm trying to get the x by itself. It has a plus 30 with it and a 5x. Which one do you get rid of first? If you said the 30, you're correct. I have to subtract 30 from both sides. Minus 30, minus 30. 5x equals 10, take away 30 is negative 20. How do I get rid of the 5 in front of the x? Well, this is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So I'm going to divide by 5 here and divide by 5 here, and x equals -4. My answer is -4, comma 2. Notice that I put the x first, x, and then the y in the parentheses. Now the next part of the assignment is going to be the 10 practice problems. So I'm going to stop this. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to continue this video. You should make sure you have plenty of paper, make sure you have the worksheet, and I'd like you to copy problem number 1 from the worksheet down. Okay, here's problem number 1 from the worksheet. Now this problem is different from both warm-up problems. It's different from number 6 and from problem number 26, because this equation right here is in standard form. This is the A, this is the B, and this is the C, and this problem is in y equal form. So this is a problem where I use substitution. This is the second time when I'm supposed to know that I use substitution. This is the second type of substituting, where I know what y is, and I have to put it right here in the first equation where the y is. So I want you to highlight or circle the -x minus 5, and I want you to highlight or circle the y, because that's where -x minus 5 is going to go. And I want you to remember parentheses now. So I'm going to write 3, whoopsies, we need a pen, not a highlighter, 3x minus 2. So notice I wrote everything, but now I'm not going to write the y. What will I write? I hope you said -x minus 5. Put it in parentheses, -x minus 5. I'm going back up to this equation. I got the y, because that's -x minus 5, equals 0, equal 0. Now the first thing I have to do on this problem is get rid of the parentheses, distribute. So I'm going to go -2 times x, and then I'll also do -2 times -5. I always like to start by writing down this 3x. So 3x, now what's -2 times -1x? What's -2 times -1? It's 2, so now I have plus 2x. It's plus 2x because a negative times a negative is positive, so that's why it's plus 2x. I have to multiply one more time. Now -2 times the -5. -2 times -5 is positive 10, and then equals 0. Hope you remember what these two things are called. They both have an x with them, so they're called like terms. Like terms need to be added. What's 3x plus 2x? 5x. So now I have 5x plus 10 equals 0. Now I'm trying to get the x by itself. Which one of these do I get rid of first? The plus 10 or the times 5? I hope you said the 10. So I'm going to subtract 10 here, and I have to subtract 10 over here by the 0, minus 10. That's going to give me 5x equals -10. These two canceled out because 10 and -10 is 0, so all I had left was the 5x. I still don't have the x by itself, and this means 5 times x. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So I'm going to divide by 5 here and divide by 5 here, and x is going to be equal to -2. 10, -10 divided by 5 is -2. Now I have to solve for the y. To do that, I'm going to take this -2 right here, and I'm going to put it back right here. You know what, I'm going to put it back here. This is kind of a tricky problem right here. going to put it over here. So I'm going to go 3 times the x, which is negative 2, minus 2y equals 0. Multiply negative 6 minus 2y equals 0. Get the y by itself. So always start by getting rid of addition or subtraction first, so we'll get rid of this first. The opposite of negative 6 is positive 6, so we're going to add 6 here, and we'll add 6 over here too. I have to shrink my screen again. I still don't have y by itself. It's being multiplied by negative 2. What's the opposite of multiplying by negative 2? The answer is to divide by negative 2. And divide by negative 2 on this side as well. That's going to give me y equals negative 3. Therefore, my final answer is negative 2, negative 3. Write it as an ordered pair. Okay, copy down problem number 2. I hope that you can see that number 2 is a lot like problem number 1. You're going to use substitution in this again. And the reason that you're going to use substitution is because this problem is in standard. And this problem isn't in y equal, but it's got the x equal part where you know what x is equal to. X is equal to 3y plus 7. So we're going to highlight the 3y plus 7. And we're going to highlight the x because that's what the 3y plus 7 is equal to. It's equal to x, so it's going to go in the x spot. Don't forget the parentheses. Now, I'd like you to try rewriting the expression yourself. Pause the video for a minute and try to rewrite it yourself, and then you can check with what I wrote. Okay, if you did it correctly, you wrote 2 parentheses. Instead of putting x, I'm putting 3y plus 7. Close the parentheses, I'm not done yet. Plus 4y equal negative 6. Plus 4y equal negative 6. I need to start by distributing, so I'm going to multiply this times this, and 2 times 7. I'll do this first. What's 2 times 3? 6, and since it has a y next to it, it's 6y. What's 2 times 7? 14. I'm finished distributing, so this is all gone now. It's down here, 6y plus 14. And now I'm just recopying all of, I'm recopying all of this. Plus 4y equals negative 6. Now I need to look for like terms that I can combine together. Where are my like terms? I'm going to highlight them. There's a, whoopsies. There's a 6y and there's a 4y. They're like terms because they both have y's. 6y plus 4y is 10y. And then I have to copy the 14 and the equal and the negative 6. I'm trying to get the y by itself. Always get rid of addition and subtraction first. What should you do first? I hope you said subtract 14 on both sides. Here, these cancel. These cancel out. So I have 10y equal negative 20. I still don't have the y by itself. It's being multiplied by 10. And the opposite of multiplying by 10 is to divide by 10. So do that on both sides. This cancels. Y equals negative 20 divided by 10 happens to be negative 2. Now I'm going to shrink the screen because I still have to solve for the other variable. So I'm going to put this negative 2 right here back into this equation right here. I'm going to put it right here in the y spot. So I'm going to write x equals 3 parentheses negative 2 because the y is negative 2 plus 7. Do the math. What's 3 times negative 2? Good, negative 6 plus 7. I have one more step left. Do the math. What's negative 6 plus 7? I hope you said 1. So the final answer is the x is 1 and the y is negative 2. Copy down problem number 3. So this problem is just like number 1, which is just like number 2. You're going to use substitution again because one equation is in standard form, this one, and the other one is in y equal form. What would you highlight? You highlight. I hope you highlighted this and this. Y is equal to negative x minus 4, and negative x minus 4 is going to go right here. Okay, rewrite the expression. Try to do it without me. Try not to just copy. Okay, check yourself. Oopsies. 5x minus 3 times negative x minus 4 equals negative 4. So 5x minus 3, the y is this right here, negative x minus 4 equal negative 4. What do I have to do first? I hope you said distribute. That means to multiply 2 times. Once, twice. Copy the 5x down. Okay, let's multiply. What's negative 3 times negative x? The answer is positive 3x. It's like multiplying negative 3 times negative 1, which is positive 3, and then adding the x to it at the end. It's like a negative 3 times negative 1, which is positive 3 plus an x. Now I'm doing negative 3 times negative 4. You can do that. What's negative 3 times negative 4? 12 equals negative 4. Okay, here I have 8x plus 12 equal negative 4. How did I get the 8x? Well, I combined my like terms. So I added these two together. 5 plus 3 is 8, and then I just added the x. Now I want the x by itself. Remember what to do first? Subtract 12 on both sides. Minus 12 minus 12. This is going to be negative 16. This is 0. And this is 8x. Now, how do I get the x by itself? I have one more step. What's the opposite of multiplication? I hope you're saying divide by 8. Divide by 8, divide by 8. X equals negative 2. I'm not done yet. I still have to solve for the y. I'm going to shrink the screen here. And I'm going to put this negative 2 right up here in the x spot. So you try to do it ahead of me. so 5, and the x spot goes -2, put them in parentheses, then minus 3y equal -4. This is going to be -10 minus 3y equal -4. Now I'm trying to get the y by itself. What should I get rid of first? You should be getting pretty good at this by now. I hope you said that -10. The opposite of -10 is to add 10, so I'll add 10 here, and I'll add 10 here. This is going to give me 6. -4 plus 10 is 6. And over here, this is 0. So I just have -3y left. How do I get rid of the -3? I divide by -3 here, and I divide by -3 here, and y equal -2. My final answer is -2, -2. Copy down number 4. Okay, you should notice the number 4 is quite different from number 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 1, number 2, and number 3 had one equation in standard form and one equation that said either x equal or y equal. These are both in standard form. That means I'm going to use elimination, and the good news is that this problem is a hallelujah problem. If you add 3x plus 2x, you're going to get 5. If you add this, you're going to get 0, and if you add this, you'll get 20. So let's just go right ahead to the very first step and add. We don't need to multiply by anything on this problem. So what's 3x plus 2x? 5x. What's -y plus y? 0. I don't write it down. What's 4 plus 16? 20. Do you remember what you're going to have to do to get the x by itself? I hope you said divide by 5, divide by 5. Do the math. 5 divided by 5 cancels and you have x. Use your calculator if you need to. What's 20 divided by 5? 4. So now I have to put this 4 back into either one of these two equations and solve for y. I'm going to put it into this equation. So 2 parentheses, I don't write down the x, I write the 4 because that's what x is, times 4 plus y equals 16. Do the math. This means multiply. 8 plus y equals 16. Now the 8 isn't in front of the y, it's kind of next to it with a sign separating it. So this is not a division problem. How do you get rid of this 8? If you said subtract 8, you are correct. Minus 8 on both sides. I have to shrink the screen. That's going to give me y equals 16 minus 8. 8. Therefore, my answer is 4, 8. Copy down number 5. Hope you're looking at this problem and thinking for yourself about how to solve it, because it's really important that even though I'm helping you, you're trying to get more and more and more independent. This problem has one in standard form and one equation in x equal form. That means I'm going to use substitution. I'm going to highlight this. And where will that go? It says it's equal to x, so it's going to go in the x spot. Highlight both of those. Now I'm going to rewrite this expression but instead of putting an x there, I'll put the y plus 4. You do that. Okay, you should have y, whoopsies, y plus 4, that's the x, I'll put it in parentheses, plus y equals 0. Now there's nothing on the outside of the parentheses, so I don't have to distribute, I don't have to multiply. I have to start by combining the like terms. What are the like terms? The y and the y. What is 1y plus 1y? I hope you're thinking 2y. So now I have 2y plus 4 equals 0. I need to get the y by itself. Am I going to get rid of the plus 4 or the times 2 first? You should be thinking the plus 4, so I'll do the opposite of adding 4. I'm going to subtract 4 here, and I'm going to subtract 4 here. 0, take away 4, equals negative 4. This is 0, and this is 2y. That's all that's left on this side after these cancel out. Okay, how do I get the y by itself? Divide by 2, divide by 2. Y equals negative 4 divided by 2. You can use your calculator for that. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Now, while I shrink the screen, think, what am I supposed to do next? You have to substitute this back into the y spot of either one of these two equations. It'd actually be easier to use this one. So I'm going to write x plus, instead of y, I'll put what y equals, which is negative 2. X plus negative 2 equals 0. Now if I want the x to be by itself, I have to add 2 to both sides, because that's the opposite of subtracting 2. This cancels, so all I have left on the left side is x, and 0 plus 2 is 2. Therefore, my answer is 2, negative 2. Copy down problem number 6. Okay, I'm hoping that you're realizing that you're going to have to use elimination because both of these problems are in standard form. This is not a hallelujah problem. So what number could I multiply one of the equations by in order to cause the x's or the y's to zero out? Well, you have two choices here. You could multiply this entire equation by negative 5, and then the y's would cancel. Or, if you want, you can multiply this entire equation by negative 2, and then the x would cancel out. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply, I don't know, I think I'm going to do the second equation by negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5 and times negative 5. So I'm going to rewrite this equation right next to it. I'm just rewriting it. I'm not doing any math. 2x plus 5y equal negative 6. And on the second equation, before I rewrite, I'm going to multiply. So 4 times negative 5 is negative 20x. Y times negative 5 is negative 5y. Negative 12 times negative 5 is positive 60. Next step is to add, so draw your line. Okay, let's add. What's positive 2 plus negative 20? Negative 18, and because it has an x next to it, it's negative 18x. What's positive 5y and negative 5y? 0. What's positive 60 and negative 6? Positive 54. Okay, I need the x by itself. This is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? If you said division, you're correct. So I'm going to divide by 18 here and divide by 18 here. X equals, I'm pretty sure 54 divided by 18 is 4, but I'm going to double check on a calculator. I was wrong. 54 divided by 18 is 3. We now have to solve for the y. I'm going to put this 3 right back into here. 4 times 3 plus y equal negative 12. 4 parentheses times 3 plus y equal negative 12. Do this math. Multiply 12 plus y equal negative 12. I want the y by itself. This is not multiplication because the 12 isn't right in front of the y. I'm going to subtract 12 on both sides. 12 minus 12 is 0. Y equals negative 12 minus 12 is negative 24. I'm going to shrink the screen so I can write the answer as an ordered pair. 3, comma, negative 24. All right, before we can move on, I made a mistake. It's not a huge mistake, but it messed up the whole second part of the answer, so we're going to back up. And you can use your eraser to fix things. So we're going to come back here. When you divide by negative 18 here, you have to divide by negative 18, which means you have to divide this by negative 18. 54 divided by negative 18 is not 3, it's negative 3. Fix that. That means that I'm not going to put 3 here, I'm going to put negative 3 here. So now this isn't 12, this is negative 12, which means I had negative 12 plus y equal negative 12. So then I have to add 12 to both sides, plus 12 plus 12. And I'm using my eraser, you should be using your eraser too. I want you to fix it. So I'm adding 12 to this side as well, plus 12, to get the y by itself. Over here, negative 12 and positive 12 is 0, so just y is left. Over here, negative 12 plus positive 12 is 0. This time I do have to bring it down because it's the answer. Whoopsies. I'm going to erase this. I'm going to fix the negative on the 3, negative 3, comma 0. That is the correct answer to number 6. Make sure the work, everything through should all be correct. Okay, copy down number 7. Okay, I hope when you're looking at this one, you're realizing that this is in standard and this is in y equal form. That means we're going to use substitution, which means we have to highlight. What will you highlight? I hope you did this, and because this is y, this. Okay, rewrite. Don't wait for me, rewrite. Now you should have 4x plus 3 parentheses negative 2x, because that's what y is, minus 1, and then equals negative 3. Okay, I have to distribute to get rid of the parentheses, so multiply and multiply. Start by copying down your 4x. Okay, now multiply. What's 3 times negative 2? Negative 6x. Multiply again. What's 3 times negative 1? Negative 3. Bring down your equal and your negative 3. Combine like terms. What is 4x plus negative 6x? What's 4 plus negative 6? 4 plus negative 6. Negative 2x. Okay, copy down that minus 3 here, and equals and minus 3 here. Now I want you to pause the video and see if you can solve this equation on your own. How'd you do? Did you get x equals 0? Fix it if you missed it, and see if you can figure out what it was that you made a mistake on. Okay, now I'm going to solve for the y. I'm going to put this x right here back into this equation. So I'm going to write y equals negative 2 times 0 minus 1. Do it ahead of me. Don't wait for me. Do it ahead. What's negative 2 times 0? 0. So now I have 0 minus 1. What's 0 minus 1? Negative 1. So my answer is 0, negative 1. Copy down number 8. As you can see, both of these equations are in standard form, so I'm going to use elimination to solve. Right now, this is not a hallelujah problem. What would I multiply one of these two equations by so that when I add, either the x or the y's will cancel? Well, the easiest thing to do in this problem would be to cause the y's to cancel, and the way to do that would be to multiply this by 2. So we're going to multiply all 3 of these by 2, and then the y's will cancel out because negative 6y and positive 6y is 0. I'm going to recopy this equation. And then I'm multiplying by 2, by 2, by 2. Here I go. What's 4 times 2? 8x. What's 3 times 2? 3y times 2. 3 times 2. 6y. What's 10 times 2? 20. Add. What's 5x plus 8x? 13x. What's negative 6y plus positive 6y? Nothing. What's 19 plus 20? 39. This is multiplication. How do I get the x by itself? I hope you're thinking divide by 13. You should You're getting kind of good at this now. In a lot of practice solving equations. 13 divided by 13 cancels because it's 1. So x equals 39 divided by 13 is 3. I need to put this 3 back into one of these two equations. I'll go ahead and put it into the second one. So 4x, 4 times 3 instead of 4x, plus 3y equal 10. What's 4 times 3? 12 plus 3y equal 10. I want the y by itself. How do I get it by itself? Step 1, I get rid of the 12 on both sides. So if I subtract 12 here, I'm going to get nothing. So 3y equal, and 10, take away 12. Negative 2. Now this is multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing, so divide by 3, and y equals negative 2/3. Now I have to solve for the x by putting the y back into the equation. You can choose whichever equation you want. Oh, no I don't, silly me, I'm done. I already solved for the x. 3 and negative 2/3. 3 comma negative 2/3 is my answer. Copy down number 9. Make sure that you wrote 5x minus 2y equals 0.3 and y equals negative 2x plus 6.6. Can you see that this is going to be a highlighting problem? Highlight what you think you should highlight. Did you highlight this? And since that's equal to y, this. Okay, we're going to rewrite this expression. We're not going to put y, we're going to put this. Try to work ahead of me. 5x minus 2 parentheses minus 2x plus 6.6. Close your parentheses equals 0.3. How do you solve this problem? Well, first I have to distribute, so I'm going to multiply here and I'm going to multiply here. Okay, so copy your 5x. What's negative 2 times negative 2x? Think of what's negative 2 times negative 2. I hope you're seeing positive 4x. What's negative 2 times 6.6? Use your calculator. You should have gotten negative 13.2 minus 13.2 equals 0.3. Now I have to combine like terms. Highlight the like terms. Okay, what's 5x plus 4x? 9x minus 13.2 equals 0.3. What comes next? I have to get the x by itself. What do I get rid of first? This or this? I hope you're seeing the 13.2. So the opposite of subtracting 13.2 is to add. So I'm going to add 13.2 to both sides. Over here I bring down my 9x. And negative 13.2 plus positive 13.2 is nothing. Bring down the equal sign. 0.3 plus 13.2, 13.5. How do I get rid of that 9? What's the opposite of multiplying? To divide by 9. So divide by 9 there. That's going to give me x equals 13.5 divided by 9, which is 1.5. Now I have to put that x back into one of the equations. I'm going to go ahead and put it back into this equation right here. So I'm going to do y equal -2 parentheses, the x is 1.5 plus 6.6. Try to work ahead of me. Do the math. -2 times 1.5. Use your calculator if you need to. -2 times 1.5 is 3. Sorry. Yes. 1.5 doubled. Yeah, -3, sorry. -3 plus 6.6. You can do this. What's -3 plus 6.6? 3.6. So the x was 1.5 and the y was 3.6. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, copy down number 10. What will you highlight? Highlight it. And it's going in the x spot because it represents x, see? The y plus 2 represents x, so it goes in the x spot. Let's write it down. 3 times y plus 2 minus 4y equal -5. Distribute. What's 3 times y? 3y. What's 3 times 2? 6. What do you do next? Combine like terms. What's 3y plus -4y? That would be -1y. So -1y plus 6 equal -5. I want the y by itself, so I'm going to have to subtract 6 on both sides first. Always get rid of addition and subtraction first. -1y. 6 minus 6 is 0. Equal -5 minus 6 is -11. And I made a mistake, so I'm going to show you where it is. I'm backing right up here. This was -1y, not +1y, so fix that if you did the same thing. Now the only thing other thing I need to get rid of is the -1. To do that, I'll divide by -1 on this side and divide by -1 on this side. -1 divided by -1 is 1, so that cancels for y. And -11 divided by +11 is -1. My y is -1, and now I have to substitute that back into one of the equations. I think I'm going to substitute it into the second equation right here. But first I'm going to shrink the screen some more. Okay, so I'm putting this, which is y, right here. You write it. Did you write x equal -1 plus 2? Because it's y, x equals y plus 2, and y is -1. Okay, now add. What's -1 plus 2? X equal 1. So my answer is 1, comma, -1. And you're done.